Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a process video for you today. I'm going to be working through day 3 of Behold the Lord from Btw4g. I have pulled out my little card for today, and these are the notes and scriptures and things I'm going to be adding. I'm going to set those off to the side for now. I'm working on some Bristol Vellum Smooth paper. I love this paper for all kinds of journals that I create, especially ones that I want to do some sort of mixed media on. They can take a lot. So I pulled out a baby wipe and my distress crayons, and I have several colors that I'm going to kind of be going back and forth through. So I'm going to be using Weathered Wood, Speckled Egg, Stormy Sky, Tumbled Glass, and then at the end I'm going to come in with some Uncharted Mariner right at the end. I'm just blending those. I'm literally scribbling them right onto the baby wipe and then just scribbling this across my page. So part of the reason why this works is because of this Vellum Smooth paper that I'm working on. It just blends really, really well. And I want it to be kind of, have some lines and some dimension and darker parts and whatever, because I want to kind of mimic the water just a little bit. And I'm adding some of this Uncharted Mariner just in a few places, or especially around the edges, to kind of create an almost border, but really to kind of draw your eye toward the center of the page. And then you can see applying the distress crayon this way is just a great way to get it to blend really well. This works really well in a Bible page as well. You just get really nice blends this way, and you can do one color at a time, but I wanted kind of all of the variation of color. And so I just scribbled, just kind of wiped that across the edge. And again, this is just the very, very background layer, so I'm not, too worried about perfection. And then I dried that with my heat tool, and now I'm coming in with this stencil that By the Well released that looks like the seaweed. And I'm going to start with creating a background just with the Distress Oxide inks. I'm using Iced Spruce and Speckled Egg and a little makeup blender. I'm just coming in with the Speckled Egg first, and I'm kind of doing lighter in some areas and darker in some areas, just to really kind of give this little bit of seaweed some dimension. And I'm going to be going back and forth and adding a little bit of Iced Spruce in here too. I really love these colors this month. This kit is so beautiful. And so just adding this, and then I will move the stencil over and get some other layers as well. And I'm coming in with that Iced Spruce. I'm not even cleaning off my blender at all. I'm just kind of making sure all of that kind of blends together. And again, I'm sorry if you can hear my son in the background. Anyway, I'm going back now. I moved the stencil over a little bit and just kind of repositioned it, and going back in with that Speckled Egg kind of along the edge. And then I'll do the same thing over on the left side and just adding a little bit. You see, I do have some color over on the left side. I am not really decorating the back of all of these little signatures that I have going on. Certainly, I guess in hindsight, I could have at least just put the color over there, but I haven't done the other pages that way, so I'm just not really worried with the backs of these at the moment. So I am now pulling out some of my light and fluffy modeling paste from the Crafters Workshop, and I have one of my little pieces of packaging left over, and I'm just squeezing out some of the Iced Spruce and that Speckled Egg, those same colors, right onto this packaging. And then I'm going to scoop out some of this modeling paste. I'm near the end of this jar, and it's kind of it's not as light and fluffy as it once was. It's starting to dry out just a little bit because I'm very, very near the end. But I'm just going to sort of mix these two colors together. I don't want them to be completely mixed. In the end, they do end up kind of more one solid color, which ends up being fine. But I had a little bit too much Iced Spruce. It really kind of took over here, and I'll turn this really... especially on the camera, it looks really, really gray, but it's not. It just has a little bit of green hint to it. But I do want to add some more Speckled Eggs. So I'm just pulling out another sheet of packaging here because I don't want to contaminate my ink pads, obviously. So just to kind of lighten and brighten this up. This is not going to be the ultimate end color anyway, so I'm not super worried about that either. Really going for layers of color and layers of dimension with this. So I have my layer of, that I stenciled, and then I'm going to come over with another layer over the top of this with the modeling paste. I'm making sure that my stencil is not in the exact same place. I want this to be a layer kind of over the top. So I'm just smoothing this in with my palette knife very carefully, just a nice thin coat of this. And then I'm just making sure to get all of those spaces covered. And then I'm going to pick up my stencil, and you can kind of see the dimension that we're going for here. And then I'm going to live dangerously and try and get some more of this seaweed over here on the edge, because the stencil wasn't quite wide enough for the paper that I'm working with here. So I'm just going to go in and add just a little bit along this edge, and just being careful that I don't smush down into the what I've already stenciled on there. And then I think that's going to be pretty good for the dimension I want. I did get a little bit where it kind of smushed out, so I just took another palette knife and picked that up. And then I'm going to clean up my little work surface. I'm working on a Tim Holtz craft mat, so I can, you know, kind of do all of these techniques on here. And then I'm going to come in with some Distress Glaze, and this one is in Bundled Sage, so this is going to be a brighter green, but I'm sprinkling it very lightly. I'm not doing like a solid coverage over this, and I'm doing this while the modeling paste or the texture paste is still wet. I want it to hold on to it. So you can kind of see some places I'm adding a heavier layer of it, and then some places I'm just kind of sprinkling it over the top, and then I'm going to let this sit and dry, and then I will take off all of the excess. And so but I have some extra modeling paste, and I don't want it to go to waste, so I'm going to pull out a tag here and just go back through that same stencil. I can use this tag later in my journaling. I can use it in another journal. You can do whatever, you know, all kinds of things, but I hate for that to go to waste, so I always do my inks and stuff like in an art journal or on tags or something like that. So I'll set this off to the side, and then another fun way to use it up is on old book paper. It looks really cool. So just a tip for saving that. So you can kind of see I have tapped off all of the excess of the Distress Glaze, and now I'm just going to heat this up with my heat tool. It helps kind of if you get your heat tool hot first before you actually take it to your embossing glaze, that way it's not just blowing everything everywhere. And it only takes a second. You can kind of see it happen. It's kind of hard to catch on camera, but you can kind of see where it's getting a little bit glossier, and some areas, like I said, are more concentrated, so you're going to see more of that gloss, and then others it just kind of adds a little bit of texture to the texture paste. And kind of get and see if you can see here how that looks, and I'll put a close-up at the end as well. It's kind of hard to capture on film, but I did get a little bit of texture paste here on the inside, and I'm really not worried about that because I'm going to be creating some pockets, but I need to glue one down, so I'm going to try to at least get that little section smooth. And so I'm pulling in all of these pieces. Now I'm using the scripture cards that By the Well released with this month, and sometimes I'll create like little mini books with those, but this time I decided to actually go through and I put them with each day that they coordinated with, and I'm going to actually use them in my journal this month. So they're just beautiful, and I love the font on them. I love the scenes in them, and so I really just want to have them in my journal. And I'm still have, you know, scriptures that I've written out on the back of the flashcards and everything, but I really do want to take advantage of these beautiful scripture cards as well. So I decided I wanted to do just a little bit of something in the back. I'm kind of using the inside more really just for my note taking and things. And so I keep keeping the insides pretty simple, but I'm going to go back to those same colors. I'm just scribbling them back onto another baby wipe here, and I'm going to do that same sort of idea. I'm just going to add some color down, swiping it across with this baby wipe, just blending it together, kind of leaving the same, you know, kind of textures within the ink colors. And then I'm just going through kind of and moving around from different parts of the baby wipe that have the different colors on there. So like that brighter blue color is the tumbled glass. And just kind of, you know, keeping in mind also that most of this is actually going to be covered up by those scripture cards. I just wanted something in the background to have a little bit more interest. So I am hitting that with my heat tool, just because, you know, baby wipe obviously is not the same as spraying water on there, but it does add moisture, and I just want everything to be nice and dry. So I am going to, I was thinking about doing some stamping, but I just, again, a lot of that was going to get lost on here. So I decided to just pull out the stencil, again, the seaweed stencil. And I'm just going to do basically the same idea as I did on the cover. I'm going back into some speckled egg and some ice spruce and just kind of adding some really loose seaweed here. Again, some places adding a little bit darker, some places more almost like a shadow. And then I'm just going to do this all the way across. I am flipping my stencil now the opposite direction just so I have more movement in the stencil. and then I will move it over to the left, and then I'll flip it back again. That way I just, you know, have everything kind of going different directions, and just adds some visual interest that way. And again, you know, the stencil is a little bit bigger than my little signature here that I'm working on. So I'm just kind of moving it around so I can get this how I want, and kind of more concentrating up at the top, because that'll be the part that you really see. So I'm going to put this little card here, and the one on the left I'm going to glue down completely flat, and then the one on the right I'm actually going to glue as a pocket so that I can fit the other cards and stuff in there. So before I do that, I do want to indicate that this is day 3. I love these little day number stickers that they have included this month. These were part of the freebie, and so or part of the kind of rotating sticker, sorry. And then I'm using the title starter as well, and I just kind of lined that up with my fold in the center, just to make sure that it was nice and straight. And then I cut it off when I got to like the number 3, so it just kind of looks like one title. And that's kind of been my trend so far, which I'll probably keep through all 14 days, as I'm using up those day stickers, which are just in the title starters. And then I'm using some art glitter glue here to glue this down. I'm going to hold it there for a second, just because that one side is just a little bit wrinkly. I wouldn't say wrinkly, but it's not completely flat from all of the texture and stuff on there. And then this one I'm trying to keep at the same kind of height, but I only glued it on 2 sides so I can use it as a tuck spot. And I did glue it a little bit closer to the edge because I wanted to make sure I would have room to tuck in that other journaling card, and then of course all of the flashcards that have verses on the back of there as well. And that is it for me. So if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, bye.